What's going on, champions? Welcome to another episode of Unleash the Champ Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Sullivan. Where at Unleash the Champ, we do take cultures from suck to soar, and this podcast will help you do that today. Today, I have an amazing guest. I got an opportunity to be on her podcast. So she's a podcaster, a coach, mindset, manifestation, corporate training, all of the things. You have your hands in so much. Heather, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's so fun when the tables are turned. I love having the conversation.
That's right. And so you do a whole lot: mindset coach, a speaker, author of a book, been featured in a ton of different stuff. That's all the professional accolades. That's the bio. But tell us some of that, but then also tell us who you are. How'd you get to where you're at? And let's just jump off there.
Yeah, so you're right. I am the host of the Mind Over Matter podcast, and I published a book called Take the Leap. And so I guess let me share a little background about how I got to where I'm at today. As a young girl, I wanted to be a teacher. I remember for my 7th birthday, my dad built me a playhouse, and I used to torture my cousins and my brother. I was the teacher, and I had a chalkboard back then, and so I would teach lessons. Who knows what I was teaching, but I was always the teacher. And then I got to college and found out teachers made 35 grand a year and I was like, well, I'm not going to be a teacher. So anyway, I got a degree in communications and marketing, worked in corporate for 10 years. I pretty much hated it all 10 years. It was that rut of cheering on Friday, dreading Monday. And I finally hit a wall and I decided there's got to be more to life. A little bit more background. I've been into psychology and human potential, honestly, since I can remember. I mean, I grew up watching Oprah and Gratitude Journal, and I started reading personal development books when I was 15. I've always been a seeker, seeking and knowing there had to be more than what we've been told. So 2017, I took a huge leap of faith. I left corporate, left stability, and I worked in oil and gas at the time, but I ended up with a 6-figure payout. And that, I share about it in my book, so I don't care sharing it. And this has happened to other people. I've heard about it from guests on my interview. But when you take a leap of faith, when you leave the unknown, the universe has your back. And so that led me an opportunity, obviously some time freedom, but I ended up doing bucket list travel, which led me to writing a book and launching a podcast and getting into coaching, all of which I could have never planned. It wasn't something I thought I would be doing. But in summary, if I had to say all of that, ultimately, if I go back to that little girl's dream of being a teacher, that is what I've stepped into in a whole new light, something that brings me joy. I love what I do. I nerd out on this stuff. I am passionate. I'm fully immersed. I'm always learning. I want to talk about it. And it brings me so much joy. And we all have that within us. So what I would say to the listener is think back to maybe your childhood or right now what truly brings you joy and do more of that.
Yes, and amen on that. I think I got in trouble most for in growing up was talking. And now it's the thing I do the most. And not much has changed. It's just now it's what I get paid for. And I asked a ton of questions, and now it's what I do most of my day is ask questions. And so it's funny, and I am definitely co-signing all of that. And I could get that vibe of like you being the teacher in the room, and now you get to do it on this big scale. And so I know what you specialize in is awakening potential, the mind over matter deals. But what you said, you were in corporate for 10 years.
Yeah.
And pretty much hated it the whole time. What were some of those things that you hated about it? And then what are the things that it taught you in what you're doing now?
So what I like to call it is a boring ass box. And ultimately, that was the American dream. And that was somebody's dream. What was that? 100+ years ago, or whenever this American dream was created. And that's fine. It's for a lot of people, and a lot of people have success and enjoyment out of it. But ultimately, it was like I was following somebody else's dream, what I should be doing, and it didn't feel good. And so I guess, what did corporate teach me? Well, I mean, I worked in male dominated industries. I worked in securities, also financial industry, and then I worked in oil and gas. And so I learned how to, I'm very driven and I am a leader, and how to be flexible and work with multiple personalities, be a good listener, ask better questions. And so, sure, corporate taught me a lot of that. I can't say it really gave me any business skills. I've learned to figure that out on my own after the fact, but it was part of my journey, you know? We're all on our own journey, but at some point, how long do you need to go before you listen within? That nudge that there's, you're meant to be doing more, or what is your path? You need to go down that.
Yeah. So if someone's sitting here and they're in a similar spot, and you're saying, man, I listened to this nudge, I created my reality, and they're going, man, that's great for you.
Mm.
But I'm sitting here and I got my family, I got the security of the paycheck, the benefits, all the stuff that really cages us to those types of environments. What would you say to them?
Well, number one is going to be a complete paradigm shift. You are going to have to change your model of thinking and behavior. And we have been conditioned to believe that a corporate job equals stability, and it does not. Think about people who get laid off and fired, and think about the last 2 years, what's happened in the world. There is no certainty in that, even though you think there is. And so I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but what I would offer is, if you have a true belief in yourself or your dream or your vision, the how is not your job. When you step back and all you have to do is let go of, I think these are the three big factors in people's way: fear, doubt, and disbelief. If you can overcome those, which are all mental, they're all in your thoughts, in your head. If you can overcome those and have the whole faith over fear, I'm always being guided. I'm always being taken care of. And hey, I still deal with fear, doubt, and disbelief. They just have a lot less power. And that's why my whole thing is, you got to let go of the how. When you have belief and you feel, we're energetic beings. We are vibrational beings. And so the whole like attracts like, it's true. If you're thinking and feeling belief and certainty and faith, and you can see that vision, you don't have to know how it's going to unfold, then staying in that state through meditation or journaling or being in nature, whatever your modality is, you literally become this magnetic being, drawing the resources and experience you need to you. It's not that, I would love to debunk that hustle and grind mentality. You got to work 80 hours a week, days a um, 7 days a week, never take time off for 20 years, and then you'll finally get ahead. There's just another way.
Come on, I like how you landed that plane. Just another way.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting better in our society, but when you start throwing out words like manifestation, meditation, visualization, uh, people go 8,000 different directions. And you talk about, oh, we're magnetic beings and all of this. Because I think back to a couple years ago when I first started hearing about this, and like, what? I'm
Yeah.
so logical, and I know you talk about how you're recovering type A. I really love that. But talk about like some just base level introductory stuff to this, to guide the listener of going, okay, this is what Heather means by those words.
Okay, sure. So for some people, they think it's new age or woo woo. That's fine. But there's so much scientific backing of this now. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, a lot of those guys are giving the people who think it's too woo woo, giving you science data and history to prove. And what Dispenza says, I love him, and I've attended his week long, and I love meditation now, because trust me, I used to resist it. But Dispenza says that he demystifies the mystical, and he's showing you the data. So let me put it this way. We are manifesting We are manifesting every single day our experiences and our reality. It's just whether or not you're aware of it. So, what I like to say is you can create life by design or by default. And I would rather do it by design. And what I mean by that is it is becoming intentional and mindful or aware. Let's just say awareness. You're becoming aware of your thoughts. You can be a lot of this. Okay, so the key is you have got to become aware of who you're being. And until you step back and do some self introspection on your awareness, on your thoughts, on your feelings, on your habits. Let me back it up. Can I back it up just a little bit? This is an easy, applicable way to say it. And I call it the thought cycle. So it's a 4-step process. Our thoughts create our emotions and feelings. Our emotions and feelings lead to the habits, like the actions or inactions we take in life, and ultimately our results. So if we just pause there and just right now, if you think, like, really truly take the time right now to reflect in your current life, what results, where aren't you where you want to be? Is it your finances, your health, your relationships, work, business? It doesn't matter the life bucket. Your current results and outcome, there's some area of life you probably want change. When you take all that and you reverse engineer and start thinking, okay, what are my habits? Am I procrastinating? What are my self-saboteurs? Am I wasting time scrolling on social media? Back that up. What are my emotions, my feelings? Am low vibe? Am I lonely? Am I depressed? Am I worried? Am I fearful? Back that up. What thoughts are you thinking? So this simple 4-step process is literally manifesting or creating your reality. So until you take the time and become intentional and mindful of how you're showing up every single day, nothing in your life is going to change.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny you mentioned that, because my post yesterday was about that, is how everything starts in our mind and it influences everything that we do, every path we take. And we think, and I love that it's by design or by default is the two deals there, because it allows us to understand we are creatures of habit. And if we're not focused on what it is, what we're going for, then we will just continue to be more or less robots. And I love how you're saying through this, life by design allows us to take control of what we want. So what were some of those things in this journey of studying all these folks and getting immersed into this so much that you're teaching this now? What were some of the things that in your journey in the beginning, like you said, oh, I love meditation now, but I resisted it. Like, what were some of those things, and what can you share as possible barriers as people dive into this?
I think an easy way to say it, one word, is most people are living life on an autopilot. And so my work and my content is about there's more to life. When you kind of wake up out of this robotic, I used to complain, especially when I worked in corporate, that every day felt like Groundhog Day, that I was literally just day in and day out, nothing changes. It was super predictable. It was just like, I called it soul sucking. And so, yeah, the beginning of anything is new. Do you remember as being a young kid going to ride a bike? Riding a bike is hard. It's something new, something you've never done, and you're going to, quote, fail. It's trial and error. And so ultimately on my path, I've just become super curious. I still continue working on letting go of any judgment or bias, but I've just become so curious and open-minded and learning, more importantly, applying to change my reality, because I wanted more than what we've been told is possible. And now, as an example, meditation. Dispenza calls it sitting through the fire of discomfort. We are used to go, go, go constantly. We're in our analytical mind. We're living in fight or flight, stressed out, lifestyle. That's what we're used to. So to change that, to sit in a state of sensory deprivation, closing your eyes, quieting your mind, putting away your phone, it's uncomfortable. And so I used to, I mean, 5 minutes felt like 3 hours. And the longest meditation I've done, it was with a Joe Dispenza at an event, was over 4 hours, and it felt like 3 minutes. So I've gotten into this space of I crave it. I do it 2 to 3 times a day. And sometimes they're 20-minute blocks, sometimes they're like an hour. But I crave that quiet. You connect to your intuition. It just is this calming, peaceful effect. And then life synchronicities keep showing up. I'm not forcing, I'm not trying, I'm not hustling, grinding my way through life. It's things are happening and flowing, like I'm in this state of alignment and allowing.
Yeah, I love that. It definitely feels like it's a bit almost like training a muscle. And I know that's
Oh,
one of the
totally.
things that, our mindset is a muscle. And you talk about, how can we build that up? And I think that's part of it is sitting through the discomfort, because I have a very similar experience. And still now 5 minutes can still feel like 3 hours as that muscle is developing.
Mhm.
And so I love that, because I'll sit and just be like I used to just start fidgeting. And so that's one of the
Yeah.
barriers I know for sure. um One of the things that I think is really practical that you talk about is like a goal card. And so I know in your course you go through that, but can we get like a little tidbit of the importance of that and how you use that in your life?
Sure. And that's something that actually Bob Proctor teaches, is having a goal card. And so there's a statistic out there actually that only 3% of Americans, maybe did we talk about this on ours? Okay. So I hate to repeat that, but ultimately it just says that 3% of Americans have written down a goal. So 3% of people actually know what they want. 1% of those are actually reviewing it on a frequent, regular basis. And so, what I want to offer people, especially we're going into the new year, people get really hyped up and excited. January, they're going to have change, and they have these big, hairy, audacious goals with no plan in place. And so, just like you're right, I love using to build your mindset muscle. You don't go to the gym one time and do reps and have sick biceps, right? You have to show up on a consistent, regular basis doing this work. And it's not like, oh, I have to get up and do that. You get to the point, it's like you get excited because when you're in that state of flow and alignment and clarity and forward focus, how quickly things happen. And so, this goal card, as an example, again, in Bob Proctor speak, is you can write on a little index card and put it in your wallet or your pocket on a mirror, just see it every day, but write out, I am so happy and grateful now that, and fill in the blank, whatever your goal may be, if it's health, money, relationships, work, career, business, whatever that is. Another way I talk about it is I love acronyms, I love steps. I do still have that, left brained logical steps. I want, what's the 4-step process? Tell me how. So I call it the WISE method to manifesting. Let's just use the word. So the W stands for what? What do you want? You have to get clear on what does your life look like? And so that's why people talk about having vision boards and or creating mind movies. You have to know what you want. Like if you said, well, I want to go on vacation, well, where do you want to go? How are you going to pack your bag? Are you going to the mountains and snow? Are you going to the beach? Are you going to city? Are you going to a concert? Where are you going on vacation? So know the what. Step 2, the I, is to be intentional, and that's being intentional and aware of your thoughts and emotions. The S stands for speak as if it already is yours. Neville Goddard teaches this. I love that's why, the stuff we're teaching nowadays is nothing new. Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich, having a chief definite aim, right? So when you speak as if, when you're living from the end, you get away from the separation, the lack, not having. And then when you already feel abundant in love, connection, freedom, joy, whatever that end result is, that's how you are the magnetic drawing it to you because you already have it. The E is I like to sit in excited anticipation. That's letting go of the how and just excited, like, okay, how am I going to connect and meet that next business resource or whatever it may be? But I love that excited anticipation.
Ooh, I love that. It's
Yeah.
like, especially during this season that we're recording this, Christmas time. And I mean, my daughter being a little over 2 years old is hype. She is anticipating Christmas morning. And I think we should be the same with our goals and the things that we want. So I love that. I also am a huge acronym folk. So I love that as well. Um, One of the things as I was looking through your stuff and kind of prepping for this is you talked about having doing money experiments. So I'm intrigued by that because I think it would be pretty fun. And tell us a bit about that and maybe your experience, how it got developed.
Okay, so again, with kind of going back to this wise method to manifesting, I started, Pam Grout is one of my favorite authors. And so she has this book called E Squared. And within that book, Pam talks about connecting to the quantum, which is something Dispenza teaches. If you want to call it higher consciousness, God, energy, source, whatever. But when you connect with that, everything that you can dream of is already a potential. It already exists. So it's simply our job to line up with it. And then we get that. So money, as an example, kind of like that goal card. So I've done this time and time again. I have a lot of fun doing it. And that's the key, is that I sit, enjoy, and I'm having fun. But we can only receive what we can believe or accept as a possibility. And so I mean, I did one at some point that I was like, all right, I want to manifest $200 a day. Just that was something I could connect to, and it was easy. And I was having fun with it. And I remember I just started it. So actually it was like this time last year, I just started it. And I was like, all right, I just want to manifest $200 a day. And one of the first ones, within a couple days, my GMA gave me a card for Christmas, and there was $200 bills in the card. And I was like, GMA doesn't even know I'm doing this experiment. Like, well, that was fun. And then it's like, okay, well, why don't I up the ante, $500? But here's what I did. And so this is what I call, like, to map it out, a massive action plan for those people that need it. Okay. So I got clear on the what. I wanted to manifest $10,000, or I wanted to create new income. I want $10,000. Cool. I'm clear on the what. Well, when do I want it? So I want $10,000 within the next 14 days. Super clear. What and when. Remember, the how is never your job. So all I did, I wrote that down on my goal card. I'm so happy and grateful now that $10,000 has come my way. And so let me just fast forward to the end of the experiment. I did not manifest $10,000. I manifested $10,600. And it came to me in a variety of avenues and income streams, not just work related or whatever. And I was just blown away by, damn, I could have never planned or imagined it coming that way. And so that's why it's just, number one, to have fun, know what you want, and then excited anticipation, sitting in this gratitude state for already having it, and then just let life happen.
I love that. You said not only 10,000, 10,600.
Yeah,
So what are you manifesting now?
I know. So that's the thing. Sometimes I get, and it's easy to want change in so many areas of life, right? Like,
Sure.
okay, I want more travel, I want more money, I want to expand business and my reach, and look. So I like to have more focus. I'm like, okay, go all in on one thing, and just know we're here for a journey. There's no destination. We have, every day you wake up, be grateful. Oh, I get another day at this. That's how I feel. And so it's fine. Write out all your goals if you want. Have an individual card for all the different things you want, or create your vision board or the mind movie or whatever you want. And just have the gratitude, excited anticipation, and let it come. But here's the thing some people trip up on. If you write out this goal card and you write, if it's a relationship, if it's money, if it's whatever, but then you're so attached to the outcome, wanting to make it happen, you're actually working in reversal, because you're going to keep it away from you. So that's why I do the excited anticipation, because it detaches me from the outcome trying to make it happen. And you create more of this flow and ease.
I love that, and I feel like I'm that dad because every analogy I have is tied to my kids these days.
Yeah.
But I think about how I used to work, and sometimes still fall into the trap of through the lens of my daughter. So, like I said earlier, she's 2. If I call her name and then I chase after her, 9.5 times out of 10, she's going to run away from me. Shocking. But if I stand and stay put and I just keep calling out and understand that she will hear my voice, I believe that she's going to come to me and I'm not going to have to chase after it. Yeah. She'll come. Yeah. And is it always in my time preference? No. She may take some pit stops along the way, yeah, but she will eventually get back to me. And I think that's a beautiful picture of, the culture of, oh, so grounded, just gonna, and then the flip side of it is like, I'm gonna stand understanding what I want. I'm gonna be intentional with how I am with it, how I speak it as if it's already happened, and then we're just gonna be excited with it. So I love that. I love that. So what are you excited about right now?
Real quick before we go, can I add something? Because while you were talking about it, it's like this just came to me.
Yeah.
So as an example, we are programmed and conditioned to believe, think of different sayings. And a lot of this is going to be in our subconscious at this point. But different sayings: no pain, no gain. You have to hustle and grind. So we believe that there is struggle and suffering to get what we want. So that's a lot of my work, is shifting those beliefs. That's what a paradigm shift is. It's a model of new thinking and behaviors. But we have to become aware, oh my gosh, I do think that. And money, so many people are hung up on money because of stories they heard as a young kid. Money is hard to come by. It doesn't grow on trees. I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving. So until we become aware of those false beliefs, I call them BS, they're your belief systems. Until you become aware of that, you're not going to change your reality. So I just wanted to say that you don't have to struggle and you don't have to suffer.
Come on. And everybody in the listening world said, amen.
Yes. So I think what you asked, what am I excited for?
Yeah, what are you excited for right now?
Man, for me, it's just, I continue and I think another reason I'm in the position I am, that I'm teaching it, is because I need to be living it and remembering it as much as I'm teaching it. And so it is just remembering, when I fall off track, how long am I going to stay off? Whether it's a day, a few weeks, hours, that is up to me. So just remembering to stay consistent, to do this work, to have that gratitude, excited anticipation, know that it's a journey, there is no final destination. And just have fun along the way. And I think one thing that I'm really falling into that has been difficult for me is trusting the timing. I'm rather impatient. And so that's something that I'm working on, and that's why I'm trying to use remember that I'm supposed to be having fun along the way.
Yeah, I love that. And, that's the recovering type A in us. And, I don't think it's natural for any of us that build something to go, you know what, I think I'm going to start this thing and I'm really okay if it's just slow and, it just kind of happens and it comes, we're not geared that way. And so it really is a choice that we choose a different, better, more successful, but more unpredictable way. And so I love that. I love that. So where can folks find you? You got a ton, YouTube and a podcast and a course and a book and all the things. So where do you want people to go? How can they connect with you? And then we'll land this plane.
Well, you kind of nailed it, but I'm on all the different platforms. I prefer Instagram. Instagram is fun for me. So that's my handle's just at heather.hakes. I do have a YouTube channel and my podcast, Mind Over Matter, but for more personal or additional resources, my website's a great choice, and that's just heatherhakes.com.
Awesome. Well, Heather, it was as expected a joy to have this conversation, and happy to be on the other side of it and get to hear from you and showcase you today. But before we get out of here, I have one question that I ask every guest. No two answers are the same, but for you, Heather, at Unleash the Champ Leadership Podcast, we want to know, what does it mean to be a champion to you?
For me, it's just to be my best self. And I love the saying, just to be 1% better every day. And to have that self-love and self-compassion, because I'm human, I'm going to have moments or bad days or whatever, but just to stay forward focused. And my whole thing, my driver has been to be a lighthouse for others.
Awesome. And you're doing just that. So Heather Hakes, thank you so much for being on the show today. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Kyle.